Hello. I owe you an oh, I owe you an apology, but yeah, I've been a bit pathetic and just not really had the bravery or the gumption. Why do I want to use that word? Anyway, I haven't felt able to come and talk to you for a wee while, so apologies for that. Actually, before I go any further, let me just say hello. I'm Kay Anderson, and this is the feed for Lost Spaces, the podcast all about lost queer spaces and memories and finding yourself and losing yourself and being yourself. I used the word yourself a bit too much in that sentence. But anyway, hello. Nice to have you here. I took a break, right? At the beginning of June, I said, I'm going to take a break, but don't worry, I'm going to be away for 1 month and then I'll be back. And then I didn't come back and I kept posting old episodes and I don't know. I've just been a bit unsure about what the future of this show is. And a few people have been reaching out and saying, what's going on? Where are the new episodes? What's happening? And I just haven't felt able to make a decision or to know what to do next. And this all sounds really melodramatic and pathetic, and I can hear the way it sounds, and I know that, so apologies if you're sitting there rolling your eyes. But this show has been such a huge part of my life for the last 5-6 years, and it's really such a passion, such a joy to create, but it's also a lot of work. It's also just really hard, and it just takes up so much of my capacity. And one of the original aims with the show, one of the things that I always wanted to do was to take these stories and write songs about them. But that fell to the wayside quite quickly. I mean, it was a combination of COVID and everything that was going on. But anyway, it fell to the wayside. And these last few months that I have been having this break, I have been like, I need to scratch that itch again. But I don't think I'm going to be able to scratch that itch if I'm still doing this podcast. So I've decided to continue the break with this show, and I'm going to see where things go with it. Which is kind of not very definitive, and it's a bit wishy-washy, and I'm really sorry, but that's how I'm feeling at the moment. And if you're still listening to this meandering ramble, then I want to say from the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you so much for joining me. No matter how many episodes you've listened to, it's so great to tell these stories and to have these conversations and to find out about my queerness, other people's queerness, and make sense of that word community, which I've always wrestled with. I've always had trouble understanding how that applies to the queer community, because we're all these individual people out there living our lives, and I never really understood how that all came together. And doing this show has really given me that gift. So yes, so thank you for being here when you've been here. And I hope to be back in your ears at some point in the future. But in the meantime, if you want to stay in touch, if you want to reach out please do. I'll make sure that I share my contact details in the show notes for this episode that you're listening to. And also, I'm still writing my weekly newsletter, which is called Queer Word, and is a weekly exploration of different terms used in the queer community. I explain what they mean, I use them in a sentence, and then I give a bit of an opinion piece, or I give a bit of a background into the origins of the term and why they became significant. And I'd love it if you subscribe to that, and I can keep in touch that way. But for now, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to say thank you one more time for being here, and for all your generosity and your kindness. And sorry for being such a wimp. I don't know why it took me so long to say all of these things to you. Okay, I'm off. Have a wonderful day.